Who gives a shit about him? Nobody. He's absolutely replaceable. So if he goes against the Matrix, they vanish his ass. And now he's going to come along and say, I can't believe the person who wants to chop their dick off is sexually weird. Oh, you can't believe that. Are you surprised, sir? So you either admit you're a coward pushing something that you don't agree with, or you can pretend to agree with it. If MrBeast was against the Matrix, don't you think that they'd be talking about the largest YouTube channel aimed at children in the world with a transgender contestant has been caught committing sexual assault? Shouldn't that be front page news? Whereas me, if I sneeze, ooh, I'm a terrible, he's a misogynist. The algorithm decides which channel's big and which channel's small.
Let's talk about the other most well-known man. You tweeted a few weeks ago, "The Beast has your children." For context, Ava Chris Tyson has faced allegations of sexual relations with a minor, but I will say MrBeast has officially denounced this, hired a private investigator, is taking measures against it. But
oh, now he is he? Now. I mean, no, I know what you're saying.
What do you think of MrBeast?
Well, I don't know him personally. I've never met him.
Yeah.
His videos must be entertaining because people watch them. Yeah. But I don't believe it's a coincidence that the largest YouTube channel on the planet aimed at children managed to get one of their members of staff to convert to whatever, to change gender, to convert to the insanity of transgenderism. I think that a lot of this stuff is purposeful. And the reason I know that is because you're not allowed to be the largest channel on YouTube unless you've already signed their contracts. The things I was just describing to you, the things I was just saying. The algorithm decides which channel's big and which channel's small. It's not organic. It's not accidental. They can suppress you if they want to suppress you. They can put you to the front if they want to put you to the front. The fact they let MrBeast become the biggest channel means they sat with him in advance and said, you're going to have official opinions on X, Y, Z. And especially if you're going to be the most famous YouTube channel on the planet, they probably went a level further and said, one of you is going to transition, sorry. You're going to transition so all the children at home can see you transition because we're going to attempt to normalize this transitioning. I mean, this is not a conspiracy theory. I say this and people go, where did you come up with this conspiracy? Well, what's the conspiracy? The YouTube algorithm 100% promotes him. They've allowed him to be the biggest channel. These are objective facts. They're pushing LGBT at every single avenue possible. Young people spend all their time on YouTube and the internet. They don't watch legacy media anymore, so they need to reach them via this mechanism. Like, you can look at all the objective facts and come to the simple conclusion that this was all planned.
Do you think MrBeast is for kind of signing this deal?
I think that he's done what most celebrities have done. I mean, if MrBeast is weak, then all celebrities are weak. But they all basically sit there and say, do I want to try and save the world, or do I just want to get paid? And then I guess there's a level further to the psyop. What they'll say is, well, I'm not a bad person for taking the money because maybe transgenderism isn't that bad, because then they haven't got to admit they're a coward. So you either admit you're a coward pushing something that you don't agree with, or you can pretend to agree with it. So he can either pretend to agree with it, which is what he did at the beginning. All this transphobia is so upsetting. I remember him tweeting about it. Otherwise, he has to say, well, yeah, I disagree with that. I'm a bitch and I'm scared and I want to stay relevant. The thing is with all these celebrities, they're only relevant because they're allowed to be. Me and a few others are very unique, where the Matrix tries to get rid of your relevance and you're actually still relevant because you have something interesting to say. I mean, MrBeast, okay, cool. I've never watched many of his videos, but I believe you could get basically anybody, give them his budget, give them his production team, give them his building team, give them all the things he has, build all these stupid game shows, and you could put any jackass there and say, yay, the game show starts, yeah! Like, who gives a shit about him? Nobody. He's absolutely replaceable. So if he goes against the Matrix, they vanish his ass. These bang, next. Same with pop stars and music stars. The reason they agree to this stuff is they stand up there, they're given their music, they're given their lyrics, they're given their it's all given to them. Go. La 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 la. All right, cool. Yeah, make this one number one, manipulate all, make this one number one, and make this one number three. And they can just get some other 18-year-old blonde. Like, it doesn't matter. They're all so irreplaceable that they know they have no bargaining chips.
How do you make yourself irreplaceable?
Well, you make yourself irreplaceable, I have, at least, by having a life which has been so full of struggle and unfortunate circumstance. I have interesting things to talk about, but these people don't want to go through that, do they? So they want to be famous and rich and have an easy life. So when you look at the MrBeast debacle, the fact that he allowed it all to happen, and now he's going to come along and say, I can't believe the person who wants to chop their dick off is sexually weird. Oh, you can't believe that? Are you surprised, sir? Because I never was, and anyone with a brain never was. And we all knew he's obviously something wrong with the guy. And now he's going to come along and pretend that he's a good person, and he's going to find out what happened. And I've seen there's a lot of other allegations coming out of sexual assault and all this crap's coming out. Well, you have a pit of degeneracy, right? You have a pit of degeneracy, and I believe all of this was planned. You can't convince me otherwise. And it was an attempt to normalize transgenderism to children. He played part in that. And what I think MrBeast should do is he probably has enough money in banks and they'll come and take it. So he needs to find a way to hide it somewhere, find a country and hide it. And then he needs to come out and say the truth. And he needs to say, look, what?
By that same token, Andrew, wouldn't the Matrix want to shut down like the allegations of Chris? Like, wouldn't they try to protect them?
Absolutely. Yeah. I guess they would, but there's only so much control they have, right? They tried to shut down the allegations of the vaccine killing people, but there's only so much they can do. And then eventually it all starts to come out, and they probably suppressed it at first, and they suppressed a little bit, but it keeps coming out, it gets worse and worse. But certainly, let's put it this way. If you look at the fact that the BBC or the mainstream media have printed something negative about me every single day for 4 years, if MrBeast was against the Matrix, don't you think that they'd be talking about the largest YouTube channel aimed at children in the world with a transgender contestant or presenter, whatever he was, has been caught committing sexual assault? Shouldn't that be front page news? I mean, they barely mention it, the MSM. It's drama on Twitter, sure, but the MSM don't seem interested because it's part of the Matrix, right? Whereas me, if I sneeze, ooh, I'm a terrible, he's a misogynist. He sneezed in a mansplaining way all over the BBC. So, they're already trying to hope people forget.
Yeah.
But none of this is a coincidence. And I think that Jimmy, MrBeast, his name is Jimmy, I believe, he should stand up and he should admit it. He should say, yeah, I was pressured into this decision and I shouldn't have done it and it was wrong. And he should man up, and he'd get a lot of respect from people for being brave. But I guess he's scared for his own personal safety, or he doesn't want to get hit with some charges for something and end up in a jail cell. So that's how it goes. It was deliberately designed to test the resolve of the Christian nations. And when I say Christian nations, in fact, I mean the populations of Christian nations, because there's not very many Christian countries left. You can't call America the Christian country anymore because they protect the pride flag more than they protect Jesus Christ. So it's not a Christian country. I think it's like they wanted to test what resolve is left because they're trying to destroy Western values, which means you have to destroy Christianity along with it. And they've been doing that for a very long time. And they wanted to poke the bear and see what kind of backlash they would get. They had to test their enemies' defenses. So they deliberately desecrated Christ. And it's so sad. I've been thinking about this whole LGBT thing because it's easy to clown on and we insult it all the time. But I really believe that if you look at the beginnings of the LGBT propaganda movement, a lot of it began with this idea that gay people were brilliant and they were being suppressed because of their sexuality, and society was against them, which prevented them from adding and contributing to society. So if you look at Alan Turing, I believe his name is the British guy who helped solve the Enigma code, and he was gay, and they're saying because he's homosexual, he could have done all these amazing things, but he was homosexual, it held him back, and blah, blah. And that was the beginning of the propaganda, which is fine, but they gave us this idea that they're gonna free the gay people from their chains and they're gonna contribute to society in some way. We're going to let them out the cage and they're going to do all these amazing things. What have they done besides desecrate Jesus Christ, dance naked in front of our children, try and convince little kids to chop their genitals off? Like, what have they achieved? Okay, they made a couple TV shows where, they run around being as gay as possible. Like, where's the contribution to humanity that we were promised? Because the beginning of the PSYOP was they're going to contribute to humanity and do all these amazing things. Turns out they did fuck all. They did nothing. They've detrimented society. And that is all culminated at the Olympic opening ceremony where you see them all sit up there and insult Jesus Christ.